Does it work? It's going now. It shouldn't fuck up on us, I guess. What a nightmare.
Eesh.
Are you ready?
Yeah. Every time you just ask me.
I know.
You know that it doesn't matter because we're already recording, aren't we? I knew it.
But I can delete all of it if I wanted to.
Sometimes on purpose.
I'm not gonna delete it. It's Ghostacles time.
It is Ghostacles time.
It's ghosty, mosty, wosty, wosty, Ghostacles time.
Toasty, roasty, Ghostacles time.
Shosty.
Now we're stretching.
Posty.
Posty, ghosty. Yeah, it's kind of posty.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Yeah.
post ghosties.
The Posty Ghosties. It's a cereal.
Yes.
But
Postical Ghostacles. I don't know. We're going to workshop that.
We're going to workshop it and get back to you. But it's time for you guys we're reading your stories that you've sent to us that are scary. I mean, almost all of the stories we read are the ones you've sent to us, but this is just a bunch of them at once because you like it. Because you like it.
Yes, indeed.
And so, first up is you, Michael, right?
So this is from Ashley.
Ashley from
our Ashley.
Farmhouse.
Yes.
Haunted farmhouse, haunted ranch.
She says, hey, I'm here with a follow-up from the other two Ghostacles, and quite a lot has happened. This event occurred about 2 months ago. I was home with my mother. I had just let the dogs out, and I sat at the kitchen table while my mom was preparing dinner, when suddenly the chair opposite was pulled back a few feet and fell and almost managed to hit my mom in the head while she was looking in the freezer. What made this even worse was the fact there was literally nothing heavy on the chair. That's mean. That's just rude.
I know.
This event happened recently. I've been having horrible nightmares. These nightmares would usually contain one of two figures. A woman with a stretched face. Her mouth was elongated, slack-jawed to reveal rows upon rows of razor-sharp teeth. Nope. And black voids where her eyes should be. She usually stalked toward me, staring over me as I slept. I was completely helpless and terrified. The other figure was a humanoid that would stand right outside my window staring at me with glowing eyes. Its long claw-like hands were pressed against the window. It seemed to be mocking me, almost like it enjoyed scaring me. Probably did. I haven't been sleeping well since. Poor thing, I can't blame you. I've done drawings of the two figures and will send them to you if you'd like. Yeah?
Yes. I believe
I'll let you see them. Please. I'd like to see them. Well, I hope they're just nightmares. They're probably just nightmares.
Yeah, it's just nightmares.
They're probably just nightmares.
Well, it's a lot of stress.
You live in a haunted house and it's very stressful. So sometimes nightmares will be like, hey, what if it's this? And you're like, nah. So yeah, as long as you're not seeing them in real life, we should be good.
Yeah.
This event occurred yesterday. It was around 9 a.m. and I was in the shower. I heard one of the dogs scratching against the door. I brushed it off, thinking it was my dog Apple. She usually did that when she wanted to get in or out of a room. And then it happened. I felt a slight stinging sensation on my upper left arm. I looked down to see 3 scratches. I was completely terrified. This was the first time I had come into physical contact with this entity. When I opened the door, one of my other dogs, Jordan, came running in. She seemed to sense the being in there, as she was acting fairly tense. She seemed to be staring at something that I couldn't see. It was right in front of the sink. I was fairly freaked out at this point, so I booked it out of there. This is everything that's happened so far. I really hope it doesn't escalate to dangerous levels. Ooh, us too.
Creepy.
Be safe, darling.
Be safe. Move.
Move. Like so, sometimes moving doesn't really help.
I know, it's true. But I think for this one it will. It seems like whatever this is based upon the stories, it's land attracted. And her mother has told us before that the previous owner, it took like 5 years to sell it or something like that. So had problems selling it, and with the stuff that's happened out there too, it's probably attached
Someone
to the
should start
land.
like a special house for victims of poltergeist hauntings.
I know, right?
Like where you can just
shelter?
come, like a shelter, like a special shelter to hey, just come in and That's like, I don't know, just protected with all sorts of like talismans and amulets and holy water, all the things, so it can't be followed. Like, this is a safe space.
There's mediums there that are like, you've got something on you, let's talk about it. Like, there's a cleansing space. So before you come into the rest of the house, you've got to go to the cleansing space. I like it. I like it.
Thanks for sharing, Ashley. Yes. Stay safe, darling. Stay safe.
Get
please.
some sort of symbol that's protection.
Get some protection.
For you,
light some good protective candles and I don't know, whatever.
Spray some Florida water and shit.
Florida water.
Get at it. Okay, we have another update from Kate.
Ooh, updates.
And she starts it. Fucking update.
Fucked update.
So y'all know about the shit that happened previously on my last break. As of now, I am on spring break and in my apartment alone yet again. Things have been quiet except the occasional movement in my peripheral. Fine. I'm a paranoid bitch. 'Tis fine. I love you, Kate. You're my kind of people. Our kind of people.
Yes.
Now this fucker is just plain messing with me. So Sunday night, I'm laying in bed trying to get a reasonable amount of sleep before work the next morning. I was under the impression my roommates were gone and the place was all mine. However, as I began to drift off, I hear what sounds like my front door opening and slamming shut, the typical sound that accompanies my roommates coming home. Great. So much for a peaceful week. This sends my dog into hysterics as usual, and I have to get up to grab him and go back to bed. No more noise, my dog calms down, and I knock out. Now, Monday night arrives. I come home from work, tired and irritated. Roommate's room is still closed off. I'm suspicious, but leave it be. As of Tuesday night, I have realized neither one of them is home. One thing I forgot to mention last time. Sometimes my dog, who is all of 10 pounds, charges full on at the front door, barking, growling, and snarling. I look out the window, nobody. I look out the peephole, nobody. I open the door, nobody. Why are you opening the door? Sorry.
I to her credit, like, she opened the door last.
She did. That's true. You checked first. He only does this when someone is at the door. However, when no one is at the door, he only does it when I'm alone. Now, Michael, I am not getting rid of him. He is my one link to sanity at the moment, so he stays. I love the podcast and look forward to every episode.
Thank you for not getting rid of him.
Thank you. Well, you're the one who said get rid of the dog. It's freaking you out. You remember it was the college.
Say that. I didn't mean it.
You didn't mean it, but we all know.
I didn't mean it. I would never say get rid of a dog. I'm just saying. I mean,
you literally said.
I don't recall that. That doesn't sound like me. I was not myself that day. I thought we were talking about a ghost dog. No, I'm kidding.
No, yeah.
No.
You remember the story though?
I do remember the story. Yeah.
That is the front door thing is weird.
But I was totally joking. I didn't actually mean for her to get rid of the dog. Right, no. I was just like, get rid of the dog. Problem solved.
It was a joke. Yeah. But yeah, it makes me wonder, like, what's on the other side. At least it's on the other side of the front door.
That's true. But
oof. I don't like it. I don't like it. All right, you're up.
This comes from Amber. She says, I know it's something that some people don't believe, but I've been sensitive to spirits for most of my life. In fact, if I go into a house, I can immediately know if it has a presence or not. I can also sometimes become what I can only describe as a battery for them. Houses that have been quiet for a while suddenly wake up when I come over or spend a prolonged amount of time in them.
People must love having you as a guest.
Like, she brings the party.
Whether you like it or not. She
brings the ruckus.
Yeah.
This is true of my friend Eileen's home. There are many instances of spirits she has personally had when she was growing up, which I'm sure she'll submit. Please do. But as she grew older and the house became quiet with no activity, we became close friends when we were in our teens, and my own home life was not, well, for lack of a better term, not conducive for happiness. Oh, teenagers.
Yeah.
Not to say that, not to like diminish.
Not to trivialize.
It's not to trivialize, but I think we've all been there. Needless to say, I spend a lot of time hanging at her house, and sleeping over. My experiences at her house are what made me realize my ability to power up a home. These were the first experiences I had where I would actually scream with fear. Ooh. They started out with that feeling of awkwardness that I get when I walk into a home with spirits. Not a big deal. Most homes have them. It feels like I just walked into a room with strangers staring at me. But the feeling was strongest in her basement, hashtag fucking basement, where we spend most of our time. Clearly, you weren't listening to the podcast then.
Yes, this is problematic to start off with.
That's when little things started to happen. I had never until these moments felt a spirit touch me. It started with the occasional hair pulling, just quick yanks of one or two strands.
Not cool.
Not cool at all. I would tell it to knock it off and leave me alone, but as a teenage girl still figuring herself out, it scared me. I think it would scare us at any age.
Yeah.
Then it liked to stand behind my chair. I could feel its hands holding the chair behind me as I shivered with cold.
Ooh, that's me right now.
Right now, I'm the one sitting in the chair, and I want to be like this. It's behind me, isn't it?
No.
It's not a convincing answer. I mentioned it to my friend who told me her own stories of ghosts in the home. She said, though they were never malevolent, that they were never malevolent and had been such a long time since anything really had happened. She believed me when I said it wasn't exactly a nice spirit, but there was nothing she could do about it. She was right. What can you do about a spirit that likes to pick on you? Ooh. I stayed for a 3-day weekend one time. It was then it started to mimic voices. We stayed up late quite frequently, and it was not out of the ordinary for us to be up at 4 a.m. reading books and playing video games. One night, I'd heard her mother's voice yell down, "Go to bed!" I turned to Eileen and asked if she heard anything. She replied, "No." I then hear my name being called. "Amber, go to bed!" Still, my friend heard nothing. Regardless, though, we decided to go to bed. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, the lights were on like we left them, so we could find our way back to her room to sleep. Uneventful evening. Uneventful, really. Until the next night. Again, we were reading and playing music softly. 4 a.m. rolls around. Once more, I hear her mother's voice. "Go to bed." I again turn to Eileen. "Did you hear that?" I ask. She shakes her head. Again it sounds, but much louder and much clearer. "Eileen, Amber, go to bed." Eileen turns to me and says, "Yep, heard it that time." She calls upstairs, apologizing to her mom, and we go to head upstairs to go to bed. But this time, all the lights are off. It is pitch black as we climb the stairs and go down the hallway. An uneasy feeling wells up in me. Both of us are feeling creeped out, and we shuffle into her room. Once we shut the door, I hear soft footsteps come down the hallway. It stops at her bedroom and then seems to go into her parents' room. "It must be Mom," Eileen says. "We'll apologize again in the morning." We tell ourselves that so we could sleep. In the morning, Eileen apologizes to her mother, who looks at us confused. She was fast asleep all night.
Oh, no.
Me and Eileen look at each other and say nothing. As we walk down to the basement again, Eileen comments to me that the house has never been so active, and it all started when I began hanging out there a lot. I didn't have a response for her. I still had one more night at her house. But after this time, I wouldn't stay over for a very, very long time. The previous night's events have been washed away with laughter and movies. Now we were sitting on opposite sides of her small basement. I was playing a video game on the PC. If anyone's curious, it was the first Fable game. With the sound
in a basement on purpose. Just going to throw that out there.
With the sound on so low you could barely hear it. She sat under a light reading a book. It's important to mention that nothing else was on. The TV was off and was right in between both of us. The Xbox was off and there was nothing on her but her lamp and the desktop computer I was playing on. It was 4 a.m. again, and I felt it as the temperature seemed to drop. The only way I can describe it was I felt a buildup of energy. Felt like before a thunderstorm where the air is electric. Ooh, we feel that now.
Yeah.
If anyone's been near a lightning strike, that's what it felt like. I have been near many lightning strikes. As it turns out, lightning really likes me.
It does.
Or hates me.
You're very tall.
It was a buildup of energy, and you could feel it in your whole body. I looked towards the TV to where I felt the energy and saw a faint shadow manifest itself. In the corner of my eye, I see Eileen look up just in time to hear it speak. To this day, I couldn't tell you what it said. It sounded like someone mumbling through a walkie-talkie. Oh, whatever it was, it said it loudly. That's just a weird. That freaks me out. Like I can totally hear it, and I'm like, fuck that, no. Whatever it was, it said it loudly. We both screamed at the top of our lungs and ran up the stairs, slamming the basement door behind us. We woke up the whole house with our screaming and crying. We told them what had happened, and we were dismissed. They told us to go to bed and that we were making it up. I'm sorry, I read that. We were dismissed. I meant like they dismissed us. I didn't mean like you were just, that's all. Like they, like I was like, stand down, Eddie, as you were. That's, I assume, not what they said. Unable to walk the 40-minute walk home by myself at 4 a.m.,
she stayed.
I had no choice but to sleep at her house. We both curled up in her bed and waited for dawn before we finally slept. I did not go back to Eileen's house for many months. Their activity died down immediately after I stopped coming by, and to this day will spike as soon as I spend a lot of time in there. Of the plethora of experiences I've had in my life, this one is the only one where I was truly terrified.
Ooh. Yeah, that's scary. That's creepy. Definitely.
I don't like it. There's something about just the sounding of the like that freaks me the fuck out because I can picture it. I can hear it. I'm like that. Little details like that.
What is making that sound, and why is it sounding like that?
It's coming through the other side. It's like the connection isn't quite solid enough for them to like be like, hey, how's it going? So it's more like a short. I picture it like a shortwave radio that can't quite come in.
Can't quite. Get the signal. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
That's reminding me of something in my unconscious that I'm not thinking about that it's going to hit me tonight. I'm like, I've heard that before, but I don't know. I can't think of it. Yeah, it's there. Now.
It's also your antenna isn't up enough. But poor Eileen, that's what I was going to say. Mm-hmm. Poor Eileen, she had to stay there the next night. After seeing that, she had to stay in the house until they realized, things are dying down because Amber's not here.
That's an awkward talk parents have to have with their kids when they're like, I don't want you hanging around your friend. Why? Well, it's not that they're a bad influence, but man, they really bring the shit out of this house, and we like this house. I'm like, we love her. She's very sweet, but we can't have ghosts here.
We can't encourage their behavior. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Amber.
That was great. Thank you, Amber.
All right. This wasn't mine. Last, I believe. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
This is from Jessie. Hey, guys. I've been a huge fan of both of you since I was a kid. Great. It's one of those double-edged swords.
That's the real reason we do this show is because we want to know what's on the other side because we're fucking getting there.
I know. Okay, so I've been a huge fan of both of you since I was a kid. And Saturday, I met Jamie at Planet Comic-Con. And that was the one in Kansas City, which finally gave me the courage to send in some of the wildly spooky things that happened to me in the house I grew up in. She told me a few of these, so I'm excited. These are really good. I think what I remember most clearly was the partying, which, in context of a ghost story, sounds kind of odd. When I was a child, from about 6 to 12, I'd often wake up in the middle of the night from the noise of a loud party going on downstairs. By 8, I had the drill down. Sneak out of my room, check on my brother. When I saw that nothing in his room was making the noise, I'd go see my sister in her crib. Hopefully, I wouldn't see that shadow lurking in the corner. When I knew she was safe, I'd make my way carefully down the old steps, trying my hardest not to make noise. There were no lights on in the house, but the sound of swing music played by record and the chattering of guests was clear as day.
I mean, at least the ghosts have good taste in music.
I know, it's true. But every time, without fail, all of the noise would stop as soon as I hit the landing. I've had several friends experience this too. People who refuse to stay there even now that we're adults. I remember, maybe that's just though because they're adults and they're like, yeah, I don't really do sleepovers anymore. I'm grown. I'm just going to go home.
I don't know. I think grown-up sleepovers are going to make a comeback.
You think you do?
I do.
Oof.
Hey, board games are making a comeback,
Yeah.
Now that we're all adults, we're all doing the stuff that we used to have to sneak around to do when we were kids, like play games and stuff like you know what I mean? I think out of nostalgia.
I don't know. I didn't have to sneak around to do that. To play games.
You never had to? No, really?
No, my parents met playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, well, yeah, okay. Your parents were cool.
Yeah.
Not everyone's parents were, so sometimes you're like, I'm just going to go over to...
Sorry.
Bless you. Do you say bless you when you call? I do.
You do now.
But yeah, it's like, some kids and some people know. I was not one of them, but like we wanted to play like certain games, you had to like lie and tell your parents you were going over to your friend's house for another reason. Because then you were playing that devil game. Yeah,
no. Jack had to, but not me. Yeah, my parents
Lucky.
Were cool. My parents were nerds, so they were super cool,
Yeah, my parents just didn't care.
Yeah. Oh, feels great. Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. There's just something to be said about your own bed and your own pillow.
That's true.
Unless they have some sort of awesome guest room.
But you don't go over. I feel like as a kid, especially, you don't go over. Sleepovers are not about sleeping.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, because when it comes time to sleep, Uber, if you're too tired or drinking or whatever, Uber and then get home and sleep in your own bed and wake up. And
do you know I used to play D&D and several other RPGs in the attic of a haunted house when I was younger?
You fool!
No, it was the best. It was the best experience. I loved it. Wasn't my house.
Well, all right then. That's fine.
So I could leave anytime I wanted.
Oh, speaking of haunted houses, let's go back to Jesse.
Sorry, Jesse. Sorry, Jesse.
Okay.
Got us off on a tangent there.
Landing. Okay. I remember my cousin waking me up in the middle of the night to complain about the voices and trying to ignore the malicious words as we fell asleep once more. I had a friend who clung to me as we watched the doll on my shelf turn her eyes to us. Then her head.
I love your reaction because you hate dolls.
I hate dolls.
You hate them so much.
Then her entire fucking body, she didn't say fucking, moving as though she would jump to the ground. Set that bitch on fire. No, not your friend, the doll.
No, because you're just going to have a flaming doll like running around the house and catching everything else on fire.
Well, put her in a trash bin or something.
There you go.
And set her on fire.
I mean, it's a doll.
No, I
just
hate dolls
kick
so
it.
much. Oh my God.
Kick it. They weigh 2 pounds.
I know, but still terrifying.
I don't find dolls frightening.
The eyes and then the head and then the whole body.
I mean, I'm not saying I would not be freaked out if I saw
that bitch.
I'm not saying I would not be freaked out if I saw a doll do what's being described, but I don't live in fear of that happening the way that some people do. Like, I don't look at a doll and go like, oh my God, what if I just don't, that doesn't enter my thoughts for some reason. But I grew up with a mom that collected dolls, so I'm very used to them being around a lot.
Yeah.
So I guess that I'm just kind of
my mom forced me to collect them. She just kept buying them, and I didn't like them, but she just kept buying them.
Strangest form of child abuse on the planet.
She thought I was into it, and I hated them.
I hate dolls. No, you don't.
I never told her. I didn't tell her till the very end because I didn't want to hurt her feelings. But then I was like, Mom, I don't really like these porcelain dolls. They freak me out. And it's your fault because you're the one who made me watch that, Friday the 13th episode or the Twilight Zone episode where it's a doll or something. And so it's your fault, but I don't like them. I hate them. I feel about dolls the way that you do about clowns. I do not like them, Sam. I am. And so then she finally got the hint and I gave them all away because I would box them and then tape them up and put them under my bed
and wrap them in rope and then put them tie a brick to them and throw them off a bridge.
That's later. They're probably all on sale on eBay right now as haunted dolls.
Is this why you don't like my dolls?
I hate your dolls.
Aww. I don't collect dolls. Pretty. I have one doll. And at Christmas, I have 2 Santa Claus figures. They're dolls. I guess they're kind of dolls.
Yeah, I don't like them.
I have a witch doll that I for those of you that don't know what the fuck we're talking about, I don't want people thinking I have a cabinet of Madame Alexander dolls. I don't.
He took all of his mother's dolls.
I don't. Are you kidding? She went over her dead body. Although to be fair,
I can never go into your mom's house.
Oh no, you couldn't. Especially her bedroom is just she's downgraded. She's downsized her collection because as she gets older, she's I just don't want to fucking dust all these shit all the time. But she used to be quite the collector, and so she just had dolls all over, not all over the house because she realized it was kind of freaky to some people, so she had them in the bedroom. But the bedroom was basically a fucking doll museum.
Yeah, that's called a murder room.
She has one doll that's the size and a very realistic looking little girl that's about 3 feet tall, with red hair, and if you did not know it was a doll, if you were not told ahead of time that you were going to walk into that room and see a doll and that's what you were going to see, you would immediately think it would freak you out that there's just some fucking random little redheaded child in here dressed like Shirley Temple. That's fucking crazy.
It's going to get a knife and stab me.
Maybe.
They'll never know she's a doll.
It's the perfect crime. Sorry, we keep derailing the story. So this fucking doll, they're
Long
terrifying.
Story short,
I'm not going to lie. The idea of them moving around is terrifying.
Themselves. Hashtag fuck a doll. No, don't. That's a terrible idea.
Yeah, don't. Please don't. First of all, you don't need to get that hashtag started. It's probably already out there. And don't Google it.
But I mean, do what you want with your life. It's your life. Okay, so where the fuck was I?
The doll was coming off the fucking shelf.
Oh, God. That's right.
Do you want me to read this?
No.
Like, you're having a hard time.
No, I'm fine. You're fine. We're all fine. Shut up. Okay. Okay. Okay.
You're freaking out. Like, you got goose pimples and everything. It's so
they're
cute.
goose bumps. I hate the term goose pimples.
Chicken skin. That's what they say.
Bumps.
In Hawaii, they call it chicken skin.
That's terrible, too.
It's perfect, though, because it looks like chicken skin.
No, I don't want to look like I have chicken skin. It's gross.
Well, you don't all the time. It's just when you get chills. That's why we all look like that.
I don't like it. I don't like that either.
Okay. God.
Look, let me finish this
story.
I don't like chicken skin. Callista loves it. I was watching her eat it once, and I was like, I'm going to have to leave the table because she was into it, and I was going to vomit.
It's tasty.
Oh, God, I couldn't watch it. She was just like, just chewing on it like it was jerky, and it was not jerky.
So the worst thing for you would be a doll
eating chicken skin. I would have a panic attack and vomit all at the same time. Oh, no, that was a terrible sound. Okay, all right. So, stupid doll being a fucking doll bitch. Okay. Or the friend who asked me to turn off my toy Rudolph because he kept lighting up and making noises. We had already taken the batteries and cut wires in an attempt to stop the push-to-talk toy from going off unprompted during the night. There's a shadow creature that will run from one side of the house to the other. Another in the large upstairs room where I spent my teen years and where my sister now sleeps. He will cross the room and stand at the edge of your bed just staring. Once, while I was practicing the method of if I'm under the blankets, they can't do anything, we all know and appreciate that move, he held my arms down until I kicked at him. My sister says that he runs up to her and her friends, sticks his hands into their faces, and then disappears.
Ew.
What?
I don't like that. I don't like shadow people.
Right. Me either. I'm still stuck on the doll though. Okay. At some point, my mother decided that I was really into porcelain dolls. I don't remember having a real fondness for them, but they were pretty enough, I suppose. Once, on one of our annual visits to my father's family in West Virginia, we brought back a porcelain doll / killing machine from my grandmother's house. As soon as it was in our house, the haunting became much worse. There were more voices during the night. The conversations all angry and heated. Objects would up and vanish. Toys would be found, suddenly moved, broken, or torn. Doors would open and close on their own. My bedroom door, which hadn't used a key in years, would lock me inside of my room when I was left alone. My friends and I would hear a woman threatening us at night or attempting to persuade us to get out of bed. That was the fucking doll. That's what I just said. That was my addition.
And there's no swing music anymore, I noticed.
This is why porcelain dolls, man.
Porcelain dolls just ended the party.
Recently, as I had started listening to the podcast, I asked my sister if she still experienced things in the house. I figured that now, as she's a teenager, I wouldn't be blamed for putting ideas into her head. She has had many of the same experiences I've had, but the real difference is that I've only ever seen a full-body apparition once. She sees them almost daily. Oh. The one time that I saw them, I was on my back porch talking to a friend about whatever 12-year-old me thought was important enough for a phone call. When I looked up, walking through the middle of our yard where an old brick alley used to be, were two twins. They vanished after a few seconds, but I still remember the transparent blue-white figures vividly. My sister, when I asked her about any ghostly activity, was quick to tell me about the transparent blue-white twins that follow her around the house. They don't talk or communicate with her, just follow and observe. I think that might be scarier. I agree with you. I think that's pretty fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
My sister also told me about the shadow figure in my old room, the doors slamming, the voices. She told me about the old man that watches her from the corner of the dining room whenever she's on the computer. I never saw him, But I always felt like I was being watched in that room. Even after everything that has happened in that house, my family still lives there. My parents still refuse to admit they've experienced anything and say that it's all just in her head. Though once, I caught my mother saging the house while she thought no one was home. Get it? When I visit, I make a point to sleep on the couch downstairs. You don't hear the voices there. Holy shit, Jesse.
That house is haunted as fuck. I mean, it's like everything. It's almost like a ride.
I know.
It's like every room has got like, oh, here's zombies and here's shadow creatures, too, demons, like, dolls.
Was because the sister was a baby in the house. So I assume she was close to birth if she wasn't born while they lived in the house. And I wonder if Jessie was or was not. And so maybe growing up in a house that had all of the things that she's seen since she was a baby gave her access to see it later, the sister. And maybe that's why Jessie hasn't seen it.
Maybe.
But,
I don't know.
Or just some people are more sensitive to certain things or see.
And are sensitive at different points in their lives, too.
And in different ways.
People, in a different way. So some people, like I knew someone growing up with it, was very sensitive to hearing stuff. And as she got older, she lost that ability, but she began being able to see stuff. Like it switched gears on her, and it was like, okay. And like she was the person that would move from house to house in every fucking house she lived in, regardless of the experiences of people that lived there before or after. It was fucking haunted every time.
Right.
She would just bring it out of place.
About that. That is not at all my experience.
And my I guess when I was younger, I had a lot of stuff happen. There was usually sounds and stuff. I've only seen a couple of things. But in the past couple of years, because of you,
it's my fault.
I've seen more stuff in the past couple of years, like seen stuff.
Yeah,
I guess in my life.
I guess what Amber does to houses is what I do to people. So sorry. I'm not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. I like it personally.
Well, thank you.
I think it's fun.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I would have been terrified when I was a kid. I would have been terrified of this, but now I'm like, oh, that's cool.
I know. Same.
Yeah.
Same.
I get really excited.
I'm glad that I'm not as afraid as I used to be, except of dolls. I hate them. Fuck them.
Don't fuck a doll.
Don't fuck a doll, but you can hate them. Don't trust a doll.
Oh, I don't trust a doll.
Don't trust a doll.
I don't trust a doll. I wonder if the doll thing comes from like in older traditions, like having a doll of someone like gives you power over that person, like a voodoo doll or something, or puppets. Voodoo doll is just one example of the kind of thing people use sympathetic magic on. But I wonder if like people like don't like dolls because it's the uncanny valley thing, or because they feel like, oh, a doll, it's like a person. I don't like that. It's like they
look at me.
They look at the doll and they think, oh, that's like actually tied to a person. So whatever happens to this doll happens to that. So it feels just uncomfortable.
Right.
You know?
It could be. I don't know. Because I don't have a problem with like action figures and figurines.
But human beings, we like little versions of ourselves. Or we're terrified of them.
I'm terrified of them.
It's one of the two.
Yeah.
Because it's just throughout the culture. Like it's gnomes, fairies, dolls.
I'm just going to also say that your mother likes dolls and she likes taking gravestones home. So.
And she likes taking pictures of people in their casket.
I'm just saying. Maybe I'm right.
I'm beginning to understand more about myself. I'm basically in atoms.
Yeah, right? So you guys keep sending in those stories. They're awesome.
Yes.
We are loving them.
And actually send in those drawings. I'd like to see them.
Yeah, she already has. So
she has?
Yeah,
oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll show them to you in a second. They're good.
Sweet.
And then go to the website, ghoulintentions.com. You can send in your stories there. Or updates. If you have updates, we love them.
Give us reviews. If you can spare a moment.
All of the highest and bestest of all the reviews.
Because let's face it, we deserve them.
That's right. Damn it.
It's good to know your worth. I'm just saying.
You can buy shirts.
And you can take pictures of yourself in the shirt and you can tag us.
That's right. All of those things and more. Do it.
You're like me selling fundraiser candy for high school. I'm like, hey, do you want this caramel? Is that made with milk chocolate? I don't know. But yeah.
It's fun.
But you know the drill, everyone.
All right, you got it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And remember, it's okay to sleep with the lights on. Are you finished?
Yes,
okay.
Now I'm finished. It's kind of a vocal warm-up.
It was a kind of a something.
I love that noise. It's my favorite noise in the world is that noise.
Water and water.
No, I don't even know if that's what it means. I just like that particular noise of my tongue and my mouth making that little popping.
I bet you do.